Hey, welcome to Fitzdog Radio. This is your host, always your host. I don't think I've let anybody guest host Fitzdog Radio, although once I showed up late to, back when it was a radio show on Sirius XM, I showed up late to the studio and Andy Kindler took over the show and shit on me for 10 minutes before I got there. But otherwise, it's always me. And thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming out to Tampa Bay this weekend. I played Side Splitters. Tons of people showed up, which you guys should know. First of all, I want you to come see me because I enjoy sharing my comedy with you. But you know, when a lot of you come out, Fitzdog hits bonuses, and he gets paid a little extra. And I got paid a lot extra this weekend because so many people showed up. So thank you to those people. And to the, you know, it is weird. I mean, look, first of all, I almost missed the show. I flew in and I had to connect flights, and my second flight got delayed, and I got in and had to like fly from the airport right to the show, which sucked. And so I started off the show a little off. I wasn't really thinking about what jokes I was going to do. Normally I take some time and I go through my material. All right, I'm in Florida. What am I talking about? And so I walk on stage and I start doing this new bit that I have where I call gun nuts scaredy cats because I don't need a gun and they do. Okay, fair enough. In LA, goes over huge. In Florida, where most of them, as I found out when I asked them, had guns on them, it did not go over well at all. And I talked about this on Sunday Papers a little bit. So I dug myself so deep into a hole that I had to make a human sacrifice. I had to take a guy from the front row who was sitting with his girlfriend and pretend that he had called the club. And I went out into the crowd with the mic and I said, he's got something to ask you. And the whole crowd lit up. They thought it was going to be a proposal, but it was just... And then they soon figured out from his awkwardness and her awkwardness that I was fucking with him. And then they could not stop laughing at my abject cruelty, that I would throw somebody under the bus that fucking hard to save my ass. But guess what? I had an hour to go, and I was in the fucking hole. So thank you, sir, for being there for me. He did not ask her to marry him, and they had a very long conversation when they got back home that night. They had a lot to suss out. They updated their status in the relationship because they told me they were together 6 years, but they were not married, but had bought a house together. Jesus Christ! If you're gonna buy a house together, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Why get married if you're not having kids? I agree with that. I think if you're not having kids, there is no reason to get married at all, unless you need like kitchenware and you want the gifts from it. But I had some friends come out, some guys from Tarrytown, New York, where I grew up. Dave Martinez was there one night. It's good to see him. We've known each other. Like, we have pictures from each other's birthday parties when we were probably 7 years old, 6 years old. And then my other buddy, Gary Bazansky, Gary Buzz, drove down from Georgia. He's living in Georgia now. And he drove like 4 hours with his wife, and they got a hotel in Tampa to come see the show. And I just remember like hanging out with Gary Buzz and John Yurzak and all these guys at the Tarry Inn when we got older, drinking outside at bonfires. A lot of good memories. So it was good to see those guys. And then there was these people on the last show, Saturday Night Late Show. There was this table up in the balcony, and they were very loud, not obnoxious, but like loud. They were having more fun than you should have at a stand-up comedy show. Like, they seemed like maybe they'd picked the wrong venue. Like, maybe a nightclub would have been good, or a house party, or maybe go to the beach and have a bonfire or whatever. But like, so it turns out, I start asking questions. It turns out they're swingers. And one couple's married, and then there's like 4 other people, and they're all really good looking. One girl was in an aqua blue dress, and if you want to call it a dress, it was barely anything, and she was busting out of it, and she had the tan and it all looked good. It all looked good in the dark. You know, like I was like, wow, there's some attractive people there. And then you see them in the lobby after the show with the lights on. You're like, oh, I see. You know, that's the trappings of good looks. But up close, you get some hard miles. So this guy comes out of the show, and apparently one of the other people was making out with his wife in the crowd, and they're married, but they're swingers. But then it didn't feel right, and I think they were all on ecstasy because he started crying in the showroom, and he came out into the lobby where I sell my merch, and he's standing in the corner, banging his head against the wall, crying hysterically. And like they're all trying, and this went on for a half an hour. Like I was out there for half an hour. He did not let up. This is a grown man crying. And I just thought, what sums up Tampa better than a sobbing swinger on ecstasy while I'm trying to sell my merch? I mean, there's a snapshot of where my life is at 56. And they didn't even buy a fucking pin, you know, after all that. So I hope things worked out for them. I don't know. I think that if you're going to be a swinger, you're going to have high highs. Like there's going to be moments where you look around and there's ass and tits and balls and crowns, and you're just like, wow, man, I'm living life. I have gone for it. But then with those highs, there's going to be moments where your wife's making out with a weird guy, and you start to question, you know, what your life really means, and does she care about me? And it's going to be a low-ass low. And you're going to cry and not buy a pin. A pin would have cheered him up. Anyway, it was a good weekend. It was a lot of fun. Merch sales were brisk. Went to see a Marvel movie. We went to see the new Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. It's not forever. It's until the next movie. I went with the two guys that opened for me. Dion Curry, very funny dude. And Chris, what is Chris's last name? Hold on. I'll tell you what Chris's last name is. Anyway, we had fun, but Marvel movies are too much pressure. Marvel asks too much of its viewer. Like, it's like every 3 weeks there's another one that comes out, and I'm supposed to know who the characters are, who the Jackal is, and who Ant-Man is, and who fucking Handjob Boy is, and that Wonder Woman's a lesbian or not a lesbian. I can't remember. I feel like the Avengers, you go to see the Avengers, it's like taking a fucking midterm. You got to study. Because it's got like 10 different characters, and you're supposed to know all their backstories, all their relationships, and then you go to the movie. And I went to the first Avengers movie with Mike Lawrence, who is a dear friend of mine. And congratulations and shout out to Mike. Him and his wife have been trying to adopt a baby for years, and he just sent me a photo of their new baby. So that's exciting news. So I went to an Avengers movie with him in Brooklyn, and he showed up with a knapsack and proceeded to, this is what a nerd Mike is, proceeded to take out live action figurines of each of the characters in the movie, seat them around himself, and then during the course of the film, break into tears twice. Yeah, that guy, and guys like that. You watch Avengers and like a new character walks on who you don't recognize, and the entire theater like erupts in applause, and like people can't believe that red shirt guy would be in the same scene as the Cape woman, because we all know that in 5 episodes. Give me a fucking break. It's too much. Like Wakanda Forever. I went on YouTube and I watched. Because I didn't remember Wakanda, the first one. I remember that there was like some kind of element that they had that made them powerful. So I looked it up and I was like, okay, I think I can remember this. So I spend like a half hour prepping to go to a movie. And then you get to the movie theater And there was like 25 minutes of previews, mostly of other Marvel movies. So now the movie starts. The movie's 2 hours and 45 minutes long. Meanwhile, we got a fucking show that night. So then we sit through the entire, and it was great. It was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. But then we're walking out of the theater, and there's 3 ushers standing by the exit. And as we're leaving during the credits, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. No. You got to go back in. There's a scene that they play during the credits. And I'm like, yeah, how about we got a fucking show in 20 minutes? You know, I'm supposed to go back in and wait for the credits to roll so I can see the teaser for the next Wakanda movie. So I don't even know what it was. Maybe somebody can. So if somebody saw it, email me and let me know what I missed in the clip during the credits. Because God knows I want to be up on everything Marvel. I'll stick to porn where you don't really need to remember any story at all. Okay, stepmom, got it. I'll work the rest out in my head. I don't need to remember any names or faces. Just give me a broad stroke of what this scene is, and I can take it home from there. We got Thanksgiving in a couple days. It's not a good one. It's not a good Thanksgiving. I am not thankful for this one. Usually it is my favorite holiday of the year. I've talked about it on my podcast for many years, but it's a big neighborhood day. My mom flies out. All my neighbors play soccer. I organize a soccer game at 10 in the morning. We usually have like about 20 on 20. We have like 40 people play soccer. And then we all go to the beach at night when it's dark out. And we all go, like 40 of us go screaming into the water. And then we go to one family's house and they have dessert. And they make a big punch and they spike it. And then everybody hangs out there all night and brings desserts. Anyway, like that's not happening this year because first of all, my mom's not coming out. She had heart surgery this year and then broke her foot. And now she has COVID. So she's not doing great. And then all the main families, the Dunskys, the Malloys, the Finks, the Goldens, they're all out of town. Everybody's out of town this year. And so I don't know. Thanksgiving's going to be a huge disappointment. I don't even know if we're going to run in the ocean. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm kind of down about Thanksgiving, but I guess I should be thankful of what I have. I should be thankful of what's good. I got my health. I'm fucking rich. Whenever somebody says they're rich, that's how you know you are not rich, because rich people never tell you they're rich because they don't want you taking their shit. Rich people got rich by staying quiet about their money. That's it. If I ever won lotto, there's no way anybody would ever know. I would anonymously give people money around me. And I think I would do coke. I think I would do cocaine if I was rich, because I remember loving cocaine as a teenager, but not having enough money to really commit to it. So maybe I'll do that. We got some mail. Bruce Cohen said, Greg, I'm 5'6", and my height has had a severe negative impact on every facet of my life, social, romantic, work. So I'm wondering why you've never mentioned your height. For the record, I'm 5'8", so I'm not really, I wouldn't consider myself that short, but I'm not tall. But what do you feel inside when standing with a group of people who are taller than you? Not that you would know the answer here, but why have short celebs never mentioned it? You just had Kevin Pollak on. There's Rob Schneider, Seth Green, David Spade. Why? Well, to be honest, I thought that I had somebody measure me when I was a teenager, and they told me I was 5 foot. Not a teenager, I was in college, because I was still growing into college, and I thought I was 5'9". And I lived my 20s and most of my 30s believing I was 5'9". And then I went to the doctor, and it turns out I'm 5'7 3/4. And so I was shocked, and I realized I'd been carrying myself like a 5'9" guy, and I think it served me well. I think I have metaphorically lived bigger than I was my whole life. I'm afraid to check my IQ. I might find out I'm dumb. I've been pretending I'm smart. Most of you who listen to me know I'm not smart, but in my mind, I think I'm smarter than the average person. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I just project that, and so people assume it, and maybe that's all that really matters. Maybe all that matters when you see a short guy Robert De Niro's not tall. He's played tough guys. Sylvester Stallone's not tall. Tom Cruise isn't tall. And I'm always amazed by the really short guys that get the girls. We all know them. We all know the short guy who's not great looking and pulls 9s and pulls 10s. And you go, man, look at that guy go. And there's something inside of him that believes in himself. You can't really figure out confidence. Confidence is elusive. I've had it, and I've had times where I don't have it. It comes and goes. But a lot of times you get it as a kid. Maybe you had a mom that told you were really special, and it just sunk in, and you believed it to your core. Or maybe you're a good-looking, tall, muscular guy who thinks he's a piece of shit because his father used to beat him and tell him he was a piece of shit. I think a lot of it comes from childhood stuff, but I don't know, man. Being short was maybe good for me. I think I compensated in other ways. Maybe my sense of humor came from not being tall. This comes from Jewish John. Hey, Greg, you asked for opinions on Chappelle's monologue on SNL. My DNA says I'm 99% Ashkenazi Jew. So he was not raised Orthodox, but he went to Hebrew school and had a bar mitzvah. So that's how deep his Jewishness goes. I didn't get the outcry from Chappelle's specials about the trans jokes. They didn't strike me as offensive, but I recognize that I am not trans, so I don't have the true experience. As a Jew, a big old Jew, nothing what he said was hateful. If I had to assemble a team of people to reset this crazy world, it would be all comedians. Yeah, I think that it's funny because my friend Josh, who is Jewish, took umbrage. I think I mentioned this on the podcast, and he's a guy that is so anti-woke. He's the first one to condemn people for being uptight about jokes. But when it came to the Jewish joke, he got very offended and thought that there was real ramifications to it. And it's hard to say. I don't know. It's hard to say whether or not what is said about Jewish people sometimes, like, okay, let's take they run Hollywood. Let's take that statement. Now, another way of saying that is they've been very successful in the entertainment business. In the same way that the Irish have been very successful as police and firemen, as politicians, as they've been, Italians have been successful in fashion, art. I mean, aren't these things we want to own and feel good about? Like, there's something about being, being proud of your ethnicity. But at the same time, you don't want other people categorizing you by things you're good at. It's tough. It's a very blurry, moving line because the Jews started the movie industry in this country. It was amazing what they achieved. The first producers were Jewish, and as a result, they probably have been figureheads for other Jewish people to aspire to. That's one of the things you hear about is black people love seeing more black actors and writers because they say, now I see somebody who looks like me achieving something, and it lets me feel like I can do that. But why is it bad to say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. That's my answer. And I'm probably just digging myself into a hole. JJ says, I know a guy who calls his 8-year-old daughter Mama. It's cute but weird. I'm curious how that came to be, but don't want to ask because if I ask, I may become the weird one. JJ, that's a Latino thing. Latinas call little girls mama all the time. It's just a thing. It's a colloquialism. It's just a little cute thing they do. That's all. These are a couple of overheards from Lucia Ribeiro. A woman walking beside a man on the sidewalk says to him, "Do you ever wear the shirt?" The shirt. I like that she doesn't have to say which shirt. He knows. She gave him a fucking shirt that she thought would be special for him, and she hasn't seen the motherfucker wear it. And guess what? Don't ask. Don't ask. Give the shirt. If you see it, say, "Hey, thanks for wearing that shirt. I'm glad you like it." My brother gave me a fountain, some kind of a weird, like Scandinavian water fountain with rocks that you have to plug in that made a loud noise. And then he came over 10 years later to California, and he's like, "Where's the fountain?" "Oh, you mean I didn't set aside a coffee table for that thing you gave me 10 years ago? Yeah, forget it." Lucia also overheard a teenage girl in a supermarket frozen aisle says to boy beside her, "Why are you policing my eating? It makes me sad." Aw. Well, it's not, you're probably right, girl. He probably shouldn't be telling you what to buy. He wants you to be hot for him, for his own needs. He wants you to look a certain way. But guess what, dude? If you really like her, let her put a few pounds on. Now she's got less options. She's all yours. Take her to that frozen food aisle. Head down to the ice cream aisle. Pick up a half a gallon of that Dwyer's. That cheap stuff. Plump her up. She'll never leave you. Jesse Irwin says, Sunday Papers is now my favorite. Keep it up. My sister volunteered to be a poll worker and overheard the following conversation from an older couple standing in line. Man says, "Okay, we're going to mark Republicans in all the races." Woman says, "No, we're not. We're voting Democrat." Man, stunned silence. Jesus, how'd they make it this far? You know why? Because it didn't used to matter. They both used to vote for different people, and it didn't matter that much because they loved Art Deco architecture, and they loved Italian movies, and they loved beaches, and that's what kept them together. And politics was just a thing that wasn't as important. Now you can't be in a couple. I know somebody that almost got divorced when Trump got elected. And by the way, he voted Democrat because the women decide. Women decide. That's the one thing I learned early on as a comic. Some wise old comic told me, do jokes women are going to like because they're the ones that decide what you're doing on Saturday night. Guys don't make plans. Guys sit around watching college football, and then all of a sudden it's 6 o'clock, and the woman has gone out and bought tickets to a comedy show, and you're going. So be Sebastian. Be Dane Cook. Be sexy out there. That's my advice to young comedians. Speaking of comedians, I will be coming to you, Oklahoma City, the Rodeo Cinema on December 1st. Next 2 nights, I will be in Fort Worth, Texas. Punchline in Atlanta, January 19th through 21. Portland the next week at Helium Comedy Club, Portland, Oregon. And then also coming to Philly after that. Go to Fitzdog.com for tickets. Also, let's take a quick second and thank our sponsor for today's show, which is Sheath Underwear. Oh, are these exciting? I like me some fresh Sheath underwear because here's the thing. They are, if you're sick of boxers that are too loose and your stuff bounces around too much, or maybe the tighty whities don't let you breathe, and the boxer briefs, you can't find the right ones, Sheath takes it to a new level because there's a compartment in the pouch, and your your junk can go in the pouch and separate it from your body, which I personally love. It feels really good, especially when you're working out. And you don't have to put it in there. It's optional. It's an optional pouch. It's like a kangaroo pouch for your balls and shaft, but you don't have to use it if you don't want to. It's a game changer. I walked into the room. They sent me a few pairs a few weeks ago. I haven't stopped wearing them. I walked in. My wife was watching TV, and I walked in nothing but the sheath underwear, and she stopped and she goes, she didn't even, I thought I was going to go for the laugh because they come in fun colors and patterns. And she just looked at me and she goes, nice. Huh? Threw a move on her. She shot me down. Not Sheath's fault. Not your fault, Sheath. She was very into Handmaid's Tale at that moment. So go to Sheath Underwear, SHEATH underwear.com, and get the most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear. If you use the promo code Fitzdog, you'll also get 20% off your order. That's sheathunderwear.com, promo code Fitzdog for 20% off your order. All right, let's get to my interview this week. Oh my God, Byron Bowers is one of my favorites. Great comic. He works out at the store a lot. He's on the road all the time. He just did a new special that I enjoyed the shit out of. It got deep. It was spiritual. It was and funny also. He's a character. He talks about depression, but he also does silly shit. You know him from the Eric Andre Show, BET's Comic View, the Pete Holmes Show, Jimmy Kimmel Live. I think he was on Colbert. He was in the movie Honey Boy. He was in Meltdown, Concrete Cowboy. Tons of stuff. Irma Vep, Lady in the Lake. He's a pretty seasoned actor at this point, but he's fundamentally a comedian. And he came on, and we had a blast. Here is my interview with Byron Bowers.
The hedge is just tall enough to cut out all the bullshit.
Yeah.
Wow. Way to go.
Byron Bowers taking in Fitzdog Studios. He's impressed. He loves it. He loves the vibe, the candle, everything.
I don't see no candle.
Right here.
Oh. Damn. I didn't see it. That's hilarious.
So...
It's the microphone is blocking it, by the way. It's a beautiful blue hue and with look like a Black Lives Matter tape around it. And
that's right. And that's my George Floyd candle.
Do it emit some type of scent?
Yeah.
Okay.
It smells nice, right?
I don't know what it smells like.
Yeah.
Right, that close?
Well, you're a low talker.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to go because I know y'all want to see this part of my mouth.
Yeah.
For some reason. Thank you for having me, man.
Are you kidding me?
It's been a run.
Long overdue for you to come on. I think we've talked about it for a long time.
Yeah. I saw you in Baltimore last.
That was very cool of you to come out to my show when I was in Baltimore.
Yeah, I was just hiding out. I needed a place, a place familiar where I could talk shit or at least be comfortable.
I know, you didn't leave. We hung out for a long time after that show.
I was in corporate settings the whole time.
Oh, really?
I was filming a TV show and I found out that it's mostly like corporate setting. Like you can't talk freely as you want to.
Yeah, right.
So,
no, it's funny with comedians that like I did this, they had a benefit for Comedy Gives Back and they do a golf benefit.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it was fun. You don't play golf, do you?
No, that's why I wasn't invited. I'm just as crazy as the rest of the motherfuckers.
You should have come to the dinner. It was so much goddamn fun.
Hilarious, man.
Sklar brothers were there. Jay Moore, Bill Burr. Ben.
Gleep.
No, the one who did Taxi, the Taxi thing. Ben Bailey.
Yeah. He was there?
He's funny.
Wow.
But the format is after you play golf and then afterwards It's an amazing charity. They raised like hundreds of thousands of dollars for comedians that are down and out, like, you know, comics that hit the skids, they can't pay the rent. Jay Moore was there talking about how he went through rehab and Comedy Gives Back paid for it.
Wow.
Like, you know,
I need to reach out to him because I did one of their first shows and then I just ended up leaving.
Yeah.
So sorry, Miss Friedman and those guys.
Yeah.
You know, I was on a journey myself. So
right.
But yeah.
So Zoe showed up even though her dad died the day before.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, Bud Friedman just died. God bless. Our thoughts are with the family.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we were telling, but just to get back to your point, it was a joke telling contest after the show, and just the jokes. I was just thinking about like what other job would you like? Everyone's getting high. They had a pot on the 6th hole. They gave out. Everybody got a joint, and they had shots of tequila on the 2nd hole. I mean, the whole thing was just.
I should have played then. I think
cursing, telling fucking homophobic, racist, sexist jokes, and everybody was in on it. It was fucking great.
See, this is what happens last time the comedy bubble burst, which was good for comedy. It went back underground. Yeah. You know, this doing when Steve Martin and Eddie was big, and then they started getting in trouble for what they were saying.
Right.
So we still gonna prevail. Yeah. But it makes it better for comics like us, because the shit we talk anyway is made for like the water cooler and shit. Yeah.
Like that. Well, your shit. I just watched your special. Congratulations. It's
Thank you.
Really good. I'd say the name of it, but I'd get in trouble.
Spiritual N-word.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that how you've been saying it when you go on shows?
No, that's how, you know, white people say N-word. But then we just, Daniel just said it was N-word. You know, so it's black people say nigga and Nazis say nigger, you know what I mean? And probably some older Irish and Italian say it like that too.
Oh yeah, the Irish hit it hard.
Yeah, it all depends on your preference.
Well,
I'm part Irish, a smidget, by the way. I'm every group of people I realized when I was reading my DNA that people don't like. That's in my DNA.
People don't like the Irish.
Irish got treated bad. Yeah. Nigerians get treated bad. The Congolese, or however you pronounce it. Oh,
yeah. They chopped their arms off.
Get treated bad. I'm a smidget Iranian.
Damn.
German. I'm German, and I'm French. I'm like, damn, I couldn't get none of the...
Your people got around.
My people got around. I'm like, man, how did this train happen? Like, who was fucking who? Yeah. And it's all like the minority of the group. Yeah. Like, I'm like, oh, my slave owners were poor. It's fucked up. Like, it wasn't no... At least niggas with the last name Washington could be like, at least the president owned us.
Jefferson, right.
Irish owned it. It's like, niggas, you know.
Yeah, that always embarrassed me that in Gone with the Wind, the big plantation, which is called Tara, that was the family, Tara.
Dang.
That was the Irish family. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of Irish that owned slaves, but you're right. They were the poor ones.
But they came over as, you know, damn near slaves themselves, so it was a weird pyramid scheme of let me sell you on this idea about America. Yeah. In a weird way, I'm sorry.
Well, it was British West Indies, I think, where Irish were sent there as like indentured servants, and they were working side by side with Africans as slaves, but they weren't slaves. The Irish, you can't misconstrue that. The Irish had a term limit on the amount of time that they were working. They were they had the same conditions, but they were getting freed after a certain number of years.
Slaves.
Yeah, exactly.
They were leased slaves.
Yeah. But the special is really special. It's really fantastic, man. I mean, you really put a lot into it. I think the set was beautiful. I love how you shot it in the boxing ring.
I understand now why they want the cookie cutter specials, but I wanted something to make something like special. Like when they first started making comedy specials, I wanted that vibe. Yeah. Right. To make you feel like, oh, what's going on? Right. So it's a lot of tributes in there. So it's a tribute to that. The title in itself takes me back to when I would hear like the OGs talk about albums, comedy albums. Like, oh, I would have to listen to it in the basement, and we couldn't tell our parents. Right. So, and we would have to whisper the title and stuff like that. So that's why I titled it a certain way. Yeah. And it's such a powerful, 2 powerful words. Right. Right. the N word means something different and evokes something, I think, with everybody in the world. It's such a powerful word, and so is being in a spiritual place.
Mm-hmm.
And they just wanted to call it spiritual, and I'm like, no, I'm not there yet. I still some nigga left in me. I'm on it's a spectrum.
Uh-huh.
I could be this one day, and then something could happen. I could become this thing.
Right.
So I think I think all of us have those sides to us.
Right.
So
it's all in process, and you talk about the word being beaten down over time.
Yeah.
And you compare it to I love the joke about they should
the MAGAs.
take MAGA and put a hard R at the end of it because they're trying to co-opt your word.
Yeah, they trying to make it cool, like the N word became.
Yeah.
Over time, you know. So that's just a thing of like a little bit of empathy. You know, spiritually seeing another group who might feel a certain way about the government and they're just as poor. You know, growing up in Athens, you know, the rednecks and blacks worked side by side, whether they liked each other or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's one of those things of like also attribute like where I come from at the end of the day, you know.
Right.
We all went to church, it's just separate churches.
Right.
Same Jesus.
Yeah.
Separate churches.
Right.
Jesus still had blonde hair and blue eyes for some reason.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Did you have a black Jesus on the cross in your church?
No, all the ones I used to see was white, and then I did see one with an afro and these blue eyes. Then when they came out with these velvet paintings in the 70s, they would paint on velvet, and they made like Jesus black. And I think he had on chains or something like that. Maybe he wasn't Jesus. Maybe he was a slave. I don't know. But either way. So I think for the most part, Jesus, when you go places, he's white. And he's like, he got a body, you know.
Yeah.
I ain't never seen a fat Jesus on the cross.
Yeah, right.
The gut with the toga around him.
Diabetes.
Maybe we should do that, you know.
Yeah. Well, you said he got lynched. You said that in the special.
Yeah.
They put him up on the cross. They go, wait, you
from a schizophrenic point of view, it's like, you know, why y'all doing this to this person?
Well, I mean, let's talk about that for a second.
Like, if you walk in a room and you see, think of you going to church for the first time. Think of the naivete of going to church for the first time, and you see a bunch of people doing this.
Yeah.
And they praise into a guy hanging from a cross. It would look almost satanic or something in a way.
Yeah. A corpse. They're cheering a corpse.
With blood coming down. They drinking the blood.
Yeah.
They drinking his blood and they eating his body. You know how weird that would look?
Right.
So.
And he's supernatural. He didn't die.
Well, we ain't even got to that part. I'm just saying the visual, just walking in, just seeing that, and you would think like, these people crazy.
Yeah.
You know.
And so you talk about your father being schizophrenic, which I didn't realize before.
Yeah.
And that his trying to process that in particular. And like trying to, when you said you need, you got to get help when you have schizophrenia, and people go, well, we'll pray for him.
Yep.
So send him to church. And it's like, so you want to take a guy who's hearing voices and is believing unbelievable things, and you send him into a church and you expose him to this.
Yeah.
How's that helping him?
Yeah, because he went through, he bounced through different type of denominations toward the end of his life, and he always end like, man, they crazy.
Yeah.
They all crazy. Right. He became a Jehovah's Witness. And
he did.
Yeah, he had Bibles. He had 2 books. He had a Bible, and he had a photo album. And in this photo album is pictures of naked women and his conquest and family photos.
Mixed together?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Cause
did you used to sneak that book out and look at it?
No, it was 7 years I didn't talk to my dad.
Yeah.
And then once I realized what was going on, after I had my first mushroom trip.
Yeah.
And I was like, finding out he might have been, crazier earlier than I thought. I thought the drugs did it to him. So I wanted to.
He was smoking crack.
Yeah, he was smoking crack, yeah. And I realized he was probably masking, dealing with this mental situation.
Yeah.
So I wanted to really thank him from the times we lived together because I never wanted or needed anything. So a narrative was created of how bad this person was, but realizing that, he wasn't bad when I caught him, and we showed up at his house, and I mean, he pulled out this photo album, me and my sister there, and my sister got a different dad.
Yeah.
And we looking through these photos, and we seeing pictures of like our mom when she was young, my dad, like prom pictures and like family photo, me when I was a little baby. Like, I haven't seen these pictures before.
Yeah.
And he said something like, yo, my sister was like, you got any other pictures of our mom? Beautiful pictures? He was like, keep going, you'll see some. And she turned the page, and it was like naked women.
No.
Yeah, on their back, holding their legs up like this. And then she tried to turn from that page, and it was more. And, he's sitting across from us like you, smoking a cigarette. And we didn't want to like say nothing.
Yeah.
Because he invited us in. We didn't want to go in. Like, we were nervous. We backed the car in. And I told her when she turned the car off, she was like, should I leave it running? I was like, if something happened, go over the median and then make a left and just drive.
Uh-huh.
And
wow, you guys were that nervous.
Yeah, we nervous. And I remember him seeing it, and he was like, yo, come on in. And then she looked, and she ended up cutting the car off. But we parked the car, and we sat in the car for a minute. And I remember, like, he was outside with no shirt on. He was smoking a cigarette. He had on a skull cap, no shirt, jogging pants, and no socks when we pulled up.
And this is in Athens, Georgia?
This is Athens, Georgia. And we backed in, and we looked in and it's like shady apartments.
Yeah.
So you always got to back in anyway.
Right.
And people looking out their window and shit. And I remember looking through the rearview mirror, looking at them. And I was like, who getting out first? And she like, nigga, that's your daddy. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot.
It's like a horror movie.
Because I'm extra paranoid, too. But I probably got some of that for him.
Yeah.
So I always try to, like, look at how we going to get out of this situation. But, I mean, we was going through that album, and it was just, like, chicks, and then my sister here. So it's an uncomfortable
crazy
thing, because it's not like me and my dad, and he like, yeah, these are my conquests.
Yeah.
And my sister there, and we just like, And my sister, female, so she doing woman shit. Like, where'd you meet this nice young lady at? And he like, I met her at the church. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this motherfucker met my mom at the church.
There wasn't any naked pictures of your mother in there.
Well, we thought it was.
Oh.
Cause he like, if you turn the page, it's gonna be my favorite picture. And we just looked at each other, and my heart got stopped.
Yeah.
And we turned the page, and it wasn't my mom. It was a picture of him in the same position, holding his dick with two hands, naked. And then everybody just laughed, and that broke the tension in the room. Man, we died
two hands.
laughing. Yeah.
You were proud of him at that moment.
Well, I don't think I could do my shit with two hands, so it was genetically. It's some questions.
Yeah.
To God or whoever.
Yeah,
but
you got a little short change?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, maybe an inch or two. I don't know. But I definitely felt that since we all laughing, that it was time to be like, the tension was broken.
Yeah.
So I told him I got something to tell him. And then he looked at my sister and just, started shaking his head. And I was like, I know I ain't seen you in 7 years, but I wanted to tell you thank you for, I was going into the thing, and he was like, basically, he said, man, she pretty and everything, but I can't fuck your sister. And my sister got up like, good to see you again, Mr. Bowers, and started going toward the door. And I got triggered. And I was like, what? And he was like, man, I can't believe you turned out like this after college and everything, and your own sister. And I'm like, I'm about to go off. Like, nah, I'm trying to tell you, and my voice getting all shaky.
Yeah.
And because at that moment, I'm realizing like, oh shit, like he's never gonna know how he's so far gone now. He's never gonna know that I really appreciated what he did. He gonna think I hold a grudge against him. And then I think I started to get angry and cry, my sister just grabbed me and like, come on, get in the car. And we driving off, and I reached under the seat and opened the styrofoam, and I grabbed the steak out with my bare hands and ate it like this.
A steak?
Because we had dinner before with my aunt. That's how we got the address to where he lived.
Yeah.
So, but I was so like spent energy-wise, I just grabbed the steak with my hands and ate it.
At the moment you're trying to show your dad acceptance, he's doing things that are making him
somehow he got triggered,
unacceptable. Yeah.
And he had an episode that we wasn't ready for. And I don't think my sister ever experienced nothing like that. How the episodes sneak in. Like out of nowhere, you just in this thing.
Yeah. Did he ever raise her at any point? Or was he not around? He wasn't around.
No.
So
she had her own father.
Is he medicated or has he been
No,
medicated?
it's hard. I mean, you gotta look at it from his point of view. If you think everybody's trying to kill you or say you crazy, which he didn't believe, and then they give you this medicine, you're not gonna want to take the medicine, especially if the medicine make you lethargic and make your hair thin and all that stuff. So he didn't end up taking it. That's why he ended up going deeper into his situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing that he's actually got a place to live.
Well, I mean, he was living with my grandmother, then he ended up leaving. Then he ended up becoming property of the state. And then it was like, once you become property of the state, they just gonna numb you until you pass. That's how it looked.
You mean just give you the drugs?
Overdo it.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, he's gone. I shot up my first movie, and I landed from a movie festival, and I got a call that he coded 5 times.
He coded?
Yeah, his heart stopped. They brought him back 5 times.
Shit.
And me and my girl went home and, grabbed some bags, and we went out, and we got to Macon like 3 a.m. or something like that. And I was able to spend like the last, hour or so with him. Wow. And we really was able to communicate then.
Really?
Yeah. With no words, because he was in a coma.
Wow.
So when I got there, he heard my voice. He got out, and then he was like trying to move towards me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was trying to kill me or he was trying to like give me a hug.
Right.
But I felt like the warmth of it was like he was trying to give me a hug or something. But the paranoid part of me was like, what if he was like, you motherfucker?
Yeah, that's his last sentiment towards you.
But I was like, man, no need to apologize. You were great, and I'll take it from here as far as I can go. And I felt him die. I felt like this energy go through me.
Yeah.
And it was like a heavy tingle, and like a lot of anger and stuff went away, and it was just peace. It was a stillness.
Wow.
And I told the nurse that he was gone, and the nurse was like, "No, because I just checked the thing." And she checked it, and she was like, "Yeah, he was gone."
Wow.
But it was just a body on the machine. And my lady was playing Elton John, because when I went to see him that day, when he pulled out the photo book, he was playing Elton John.
No shit.
Because when he invited us in, he was like, "I hope you like white people, because John here." And me and my sister was like, "Who the fuck is John?" And he went in, it was like Elton John on a disc, like a 5-disc. He had a box set of Elton John shit playing.
Wow.
So I had her play Elton John, but my grandma don't like Elton John, so they started playing gospel music on their phone.
Yeah.
So it was both Elton John and gospel music playing at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
wow. God, that's amazing. I mean, what's amazing is that you talk about in the special how you got to this place of acceptance and understanding and empathy.
Yeah.
And I think for so many people who, very few people have it to the degree you do. Everybody's got a family member that is a problem, who's problematic, who is who you struggle to define the relationship and say how close can I let this person into my life. You want them as close as you can get them without them triggering you and without them causing you to lose your footing. And for you to allow your dad to be that close at the end, I mean, what a gift that you got there at the end and you had that connection.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
You earned that moment.
Because that was the second time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because my granddad was the same way. I had to come visit my granddad, and I'm named after him, and he was in a coma. And
did he have mental illness as well?
No.
No.
He had cancer, but
okay.
He died at 67. My dad died at 64.
Wow.
So I'm flashing back while I'm with it's trippy because I'm like, man, my granddaddy, when my mom called me to see my granddaddy, he came out of his coma to see me. And I remember a tear coming out of his eye. And then she was like, it's probably going to be the last time you seen him. And he passed that night.
Damn.
So when the thing happened to my dad, I was like, oh shit, I'm next.
Right. You're on deck.
Yeah. And it was like, oh shit. So, and then that little bit of fear kind of like, oh, I gotta like live and do all these other things. Because I don't have a kid yet either.
Yeah, you start working backwards from the moment of your death. How do you want it to look? What do you want that hospital room to look like when you're dying?
Well, I didn't want a bed, and also knowing that it's the 60s. Like, if this is the pattern, it's gonna be 60s, and I got half of my shit is over already.
Yeah, dude, my dad died at 52, and his parents died in their 50s also.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of acceptance just happened in the room.
Yeah,
while people on Instagram waiting for us to leave the room so they can get the body out.
Oh, is that right?
That was so funny. I was stalling. I was peeking out the thing, stalling.
Yeah.
And they kept looking, and then they'd be like, you know, and my dad on the machine in the back. I got video of it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, they just finna come fold the sheet, dump them, and then next, you know.
That's it. Yeah.
That's just my comedic mind.
Yeah.
You know, analyzing everything.
Right. Wow.
Because I walked everybody out, you know, so.
And is your mom still around?
My mom's still around.
How did she feel about his passing, and what was her relationship with him like after
well,
they broke up?
They never were married, but she said maybe 2 or 3 days before he came to her in a dream and apologized and said he still loved her, and they had a chance to talk about what went wrong, and they danced. And I'm like,
wow,
Mom, you crazy too, you know what I mean? No, I was just playing, but I just let her have it, you know what I mean? Because that was love that kind of like, you know, got away somehow.
Yeah.
But the way she was describing it was like it was like watching the movie Titanic.
Yeah.
You know, so that ain't even the trippy part. Here's where it gets crazy. So when we shot the opening to the special, we was on shrooms.
You really were?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was a bad.
Everybody?
Everybody was on shrooms, and then my girlfriend, famous, great director, great human being, Alma Harrell, bless her heart. She was on it also, and it was a bad trip. I can't go into the details, but that night everybody was asleep, and I had my first panic attack. Because I felt like I was like, I need help. I'm dying. I don't know how to ask for help. The world is dying, and there's a snowstorm. We in the desert, and it snowed. So
I thought that was special effects. That I'd never seen it snow in the desert.
Man,
like
it
that.
was. I wanted to trip outside in nature.
Yeah.
But we was confined to this house. It had rained only one day.
Yeah.
And that was the only day we had to shoot. It was a double rainbow. It rained, then it snowed, and everybody's asleep. And I'm having these thoughts of death and like, I need help. I'm on the other side of the coin. That was coming up.
And this was after your dad passed or before?
This is like after.
Yeah.
This is like in December of last year.
Okay.
Oh man, I'm on the any ache I get is mine. Like my body is not gonna be the same. Like it's all that. And I'm like trying to breathe. Like I can't even control my own breath. And I'm like, like I'm going through this whole breathing thing. And my girl wake up.
Asleep.
She's next to me. The dog sleep. They done had a trip. She done directed.
Yeah.
and she done had a trip.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Baby, are you okay?" And I'm like, I'm dying. And I can't control my breath. And I feel like I'm on a breathing machine. Like my worst fear is to die in the bed, like my dad died.
Yeah.
And air is being forced into my lungs, and I'm trying to control it, and I can't. And I look up, and I see a glimpse of death, right? In a white room with the thing on. Oh, yeah.
The full classic Grim Reaper guy.
Grim Reaper, right?
Yeah.
With something's on his chest.
Yeah.
And I remember looking in my dad's eyes when he died, and he was focusing like that. Remember I said he was trying to reach me? And we had a connection through the soul. But guess what I was wearing?
What?
A black hoodie with words on it. So I saw what he saw. I could have looked like death to him.
Right. You showed up to your dad's deathbed dressed
wearing
as the
all
Grim Reaper.
black.
Yeah.
Black hoodie with the hoodie up. And
that's fucked up.
Man, it's trippy. And then I saw that, and then I had to let go.
Yeah.
And once I let go, everything became still and quiet. The anxiety attack was over, and my girl is asleep in bed with me. The dog is asleep. My cousin is asleep, and her best friend is there asleep, and everything's peaceful. And we with our loved ones, and it's like December the 18th or something, like near Christmas time. And I'm like, man, we all with our closest loved ones right now.
Yeah.
In a nice house in the desert. And I grabbed my phone and wrote, I died. Tonight I died and woke up rich.
Wow.
Because of having my loved ones.
Did she talk you through it?
Who?
Your girlfriend.
No.
You did that
it was
all on
me.
your own, but she was sitting next to you.
She was asleep.
Oh, she didn't wake up.
After she's like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "I'm dying." She was just like, you know how comics girlfriends are.
Yeah.
Like, okay, he's over there dying. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. I'm like, like I ain't even feeling this. Like the air, I can't control this shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. And then it was just still.
Yeah.
Snow outside, like it was very interesting.
Wow. That's amazing. And how'd you feel when you woke up the next morning?
Like, woof. Like, man, we made it through.
Because people say even bad trips are just as important as good trips.
They all good. It's like bombing. Yeah. It's like we look at failure and stuff wrong. So two of my fears I experienced in that one day.
Yeah.
Was dying in a hospital bed, and this other thing that happened. So I'm like, I'm just still in that piece.
Right.
And then we had to shoot. We had an hour to get up and shoot the rest of it. Yeah. Because the trip part was shot that day when we was on, and then we had to wake up and shoot us pulling up to the house.
I'm trying to remember. Was that improv then? The stuff that you guys were talking about, or did you script it? Or
no, that was all improv.
You tripped and then you just recorded it and you cut it together.
Because that was my cousin's first trip.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nick. And he was on the run, so.
Yeah. Was he really on the run?
Yeah, he was on the run.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I swear to God, because I got the link sent to me from Pam Loshak, your publicist. Yeah. Shout out to her. She's Pam. Great. She sent me a link.
Crazy charges. Woof.
Crazy charges? Oh, to pay her?
No, to that he was that they were trying to accuse him.
Oh. What were the charges?
I can't say.
You can't even talk about it. But she sent me a link, and I clicked on it, and I start watching it, and I thought I was about to watch your stand-up special, and all of a sudden there's this fucking drama going on, this beautifully shot, gorgeous-looking drama. And
the
I was
sky
like,
behind him when he eats the chocolate is like, man, it's so trippy.
So and when the snow, the way he captured the snow coming out of the sky into the desert, and I said to myself, oh fuck! I said I was ready to watch a special, but this is even better. I guess this is a TV show, because I know you also you've been shooting so much stuff. I was like, oh, maybe this is a TV show or a movie. And then all of a sudden the stand-up special starts. I mean, it was a good 10 minutes, right? The intro?
Around that time, yeah, because we go through a portal and end up in Atlanta.
Right. But
and shout out to Ari Shaffir also, who's the first person that put me on shrooms in Shroomfest 2014.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and when I had that experience, you know, coming from where I'm from, I was like, this could heal a lot of stuff we hold on to.
Right.
So hence me going to, because I felt like Moses in a way. I was like, man, I got a way to let us go without even having to worry about voting and a lot of the trauma that we deal with.
Right.
So to me, it was just an easy solution. And I was like, I got to take this home.
You said in it that black people don't take drugs a lot. They don't take those types of drugs.
Well, we just starting to now.
Yeah.
You know, rappers like 2 Chainz just held a concert with shrooms, like a mini party, and they played only music from the 70s. So I was like, oh, he know.
Wow.
He know, yeah. So it's becoming popular. We just don't want nobody to dive into it for the wrong reasons. Right. A lot of people just like to get, high.
No, there's a constructive way to do it. That's for sure. I'm ready for. I'd like to trip with you this year if you're up for another one.
Yeah, I don't mind. You talking hero dose?
Yeah.
Woo.
I need a hero dose.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind. We should do something.
Maybe we'll go out to the desert. Maybe when Ari's in town, go out to the desert with Ari.
I don't mind.
Rent a place.
Ari was good at picking. What was special about that date, it was just one of those hypermoon dates when the Milky Way was over Joshua Tree.
Oh, nice.
And it was shooting stars and everything.
No
so
shit.
The world was tilted somewhere at the perfect time where we could utilize all that. Because I remember making controlling the stars and making the clouds spin.
Yeah.
And I would do like that, it'll spin that way, and I would do like that, it would spin that way. And I saw the sacred geometric patterns and stuff that you don't get if you just trying to get high.
Yeah.
You're going to miss a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. And you got to be with I read a book by Michael Pollan called How to Change Your Mind. And it talks about set and setting, that anytime you trip, you want to make sure you're with the right people, in the right place, with the right music, that you're, before you take them, that you've meditated or done whatever you needed to do to get yourself feeling
Don't eat
grounded.
for 12 hours.
Oh, really?
Well, if you really wanted to kick in, like hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I tell people, like, they be like, man, we're finna just go take it. I was like, look, if you take it, it's going to it's going to heighten your awareness of things around you if you do it right. So be careful who you take it with, because it could be people that you've known for years that might not fuck with you like that. Yeah. And the shroom's going to expose any negative things they have towards you.
Right.
And then you'll be like, because you'll see everything throughout your relationship that you just didn't pay attention to.
Right.
It's trippy.
Well, that's why it's intense to take it with. I've been married 23 years, and me and my wife went out to the desert a couple summers ago, and we took not a hero's dose. We took a nice amount, and I was just like, wow, we could start saying shit to each other that's pent up. You got secret thoughts or whatever, but it turned out to be just beautiful.
I thought you said the thoughts were just bullshit.
No, it was beautiful. It made me realize how in sync we are. It made me realize how much of our machinations day to day.
Yeah.
Because you get into patterns. You wake up together. I make her tea. I give it to her in bed. Then she gets up. She makes me oatmeal, and then we sit and we do the Wordle.
That's sync.
Like we got a whole thing, And then you think, all right, is that just a pattern that's keeping us from feeling real intimacy, or is that a manifestation of the intimacy? And so you don't know, and then you take the mushrooms and you go, oh no, this is how in sync we are. Like
that's what I see listening to it. And I'm thinking about, I'm 6 years into mine. I'm like, man, that's, and it's without being said now, right? You just wake up and these things happen, and you're describing like a wave, a back and forth. You make her this and she makes you that. And I'm like, that's different than somebody else who wake up and then they partner just do this, and then They all the way over here.
Right.
So that's what I'm hearing from sitting in this seat.
Yeah.
When you say that. But I also learned, and I didn't grow up around relationships or nothing, but the downtimes, if it could be communicated correctly, it brings you closer. A lot of people just want to fuck after they argue.
Yeah.
But just like with a bad trip, it is a lesson to be learned of what happened to get somebody upset, and maybe what can prevent it next time, unless it's some bullshit. You know how y'all ladies be on that bullshit. That I was like, that's us being on the bullshit. Whatever. Some things you just not gonna.
Yeah. Are you gonna get your mom to take them?
My mom did take some, a smidgen of them when I did a show in Paris, and I brought her to Paris
nice.
After I filmed, and I gave her some. And then we went to the what is it? The Arc, the big Arc,
Arc de Triomphe.
Yeah, we went there, and it was covered. Somebody had passed, and they covered it with this big silver thing. And I took her to that in the Eiffel Tower, and then we went to have dinner at Giraffe. And we met some people, and she was on it. And I was like, I bet you can't get angry on this shit.
Yeah.
That's a nigga way to just do it. Like, get angry. Try to get angry. I bet you. Think about slavery. I bet you gonna get angry at it. You can't be mad when you're like on this. You know what I mean?
Oh, I got to get my mom on him.
And she was just laughing. And it's just silly to tell somebody that. You know what I mean? I bet you can't get angry. Think about anything.
Yeah.
You can't because you're present.
Right. My mom won't come see me do stand-up anymore. She thinks I'm too dirty. So I was touched by the fact that your mom was at your special, because you're special. I mean, yeah, there's parts that are nasty, and she's sitting out there, and you're talking about girls squirting in your face, and and it all has a meaning. It all ties in. It's not, none of it is just like nasty for shock value. It's all like it's all tied into some central themes.
That's when I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
And it's such a way to have her find out about somebody suffocating, sitting on my face that your baby is dead. This is a thought. And like when she cried on my birthday, like, my baby. You know what I mean?
You look in the casket, you got bruises on your cheekbones.
Yeah, like open, closed casket.
Yeah.
And just having on socks and just being naked, that's just a bad way to go.
Yeah.
And so it's just that fear of having my mom find out that way is like what kind of saved my life.
Yeah.
And that's how you can use fear to save your life sometimes. It's okay to be scared. It heightens your senses. But it's dirty. And then my girl also, who we've been together 6 years now, when she hear those things, she cringes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's an activist, feminist and stuff. And, I go out and do these things. And when she would come to shows, when she don't know, I do that. And then people turn and look at her. Friends will turn and look at her like that.
Yeah.
And she like, no, that's not me. That's before me.
Yeah. No, it's hard. I mean, my wife is very accepting of everything. She's never once told me not to do a bit. And I talk pretty graphically about
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I like when we on shows together. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we talk graphically about it, but it's beautiful. It's all about the intimacy. I mean, the sex is just it's a side of the intimacy.
Yeah, I agree.
And the passion and the fact that you're still attracted to each other. But my mom, I wish she could accept it. I wrote a book, and it's a memoir about my life, and it's got a lot of shit in it that's really raw. And my mom read it, and I was really afraid of her reaction to it. But then she came to my first book signing at Caroline's in New York, and she sat at the table. I did a show, and then I sat at the table afterwards, and I signed books for people. And the book is called Dear Mrs. Fitzsimmons. It's about letters that got sent to her when I was in trouble my whole life.
Wow.
And so she was signing them right next to me, and she was proud as hell.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was nice.
I mean, yeah, man, I think the mother and son depends with certain relationships is a very, very tough one that affects everything,
Well, because they're getting older, and older people are not usually open to big changes. They've got the world figured out,
Yep.
and they get petrified into like with my mom, it's Catholicism and it's a bunch of other stuff. Not that she's not an open-minded woman. She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
But she's also got the shame, the Catholic shame.
I agree. I mean, we Baptists down there, so
yeah,
that's even like you have a thought of a titty, you going to hell,
right.
And then these women like jumping and their titties bouncing. I was like, I got to get out of here. My dick will be so hard in church.
Yeah.
And you see dudes in church like this, you think they praying?
Yeah.
Whew. But, and
there's girls that are, you got young girls that are beautiful.
And they going through the same thing?
Yeah.
But the good thing about being a Christian, you can pray about it when you finish.
Yeah. But you said after you jerk off, you get sad. You think most men are sad after they masturbate? I sure am. I get super sad.
I think so because I don't know why. It's just something I threw out there, but I don't know why though. It's something, I guess, because you're not, having like sex. Think about why, spiritually we're here to procreate.
Yeah.
Right? You have you got the future of mankind inside your body. This is the only way you can live forever.
Yeah.
For us, is to procreate, and then they procreate.
Yeah.
And you shoot that into a sock or something.
Yeah.
It's like, and you don't realize it until you're done.
Right.
Like I said, you're the most present those last 3 pumps. Like, you don't have to do shrooms. It's times in your life that you are experiencing this stuff, but you're not aware of it. Like, when you make love, you're present. You can feel everything. You're not thinking about, you might not be thinking about like slavery or no shit like that. You could be thinking about the chick that work at AutoZone.
You're right.
But, get
in the zone.
Yeah, get in the real zone. But when you bust, you present, and after you bust, you like,
yeah,
damn, I got to clean this shit up before the liquid changes. And all this other shit.
I gotta hide. I gotta hide a couple things. I gotta clear my browser.
Which trash can I can throw this in? That's when you single. You ain't gotta worry about that. But when you like in a relationship and y'all live together, you like which place, which toilet, or which thing I could throw this in where it won't be discovered. Because sometimes your lady will throw something away and then be like, "Oh, I threw the wrong thing away," and you don't want her to pull up that the evidence.
Yeah. Well, it's
gonna happen though.
It is the loneliest moment, and I think you talked about fear also as being a good thing, because when you're truly scared, you are in the moment. You revert to some base instincts of survival. Your
instincts are sharp, and we use that as comedians a lot, and athletes use it, and race car drivers.
Yep.
That's why it's important to. I think when you're not afraid, that's when things can go wrong. That's when you could drive your car over the cliff, or you could hit somebody too hard and damage yourself. But you just, with that fear mixed with what they call it, technical skill, can make you real sharp.
No, they say rugby players who don't wear any equipment get injured less than football players because they're scared. Yeah. They don't have it. They don't have anything.
Man, can you imagine?
They're more aware.
And the chick could easily be like, "He raped me," because you ain't got on no helmet. He did it right there. And I just like.
That's why they all wear big face masks. You can tell the rapists, they got the big face mask.
Yeah, they got the big.
And then the guys that have the shaded visor.
Oh yeah,
he's a rapist.
He's on something too. You know what I mean? That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But I don't know, man. If a scientific experiment could be done. Why people get sad if they jack off.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of dudes in the lab on the table just coming to grips with. I don't know how you would test that, but some research should be done.
Yeah.
Maybe it's what you watch. Maybe it's what you watched also, what you thought about. Because the older you get,
think about that.
You got to go into some places.
Yeah.
Because I realized when we was 20 or 18, you young, it was a shame. They would shame you about jacking off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do that shit.
All right.
And then you get in your 20s, and stuff, and then it's like, yeah, I did, but look, here you go.
Yeah.
Show me your shit, and I'll show you my porn.
Yeah.
Then by the time you're 35, it's like, you don't even talk about it no more.
No.
Because your habits have went somewhere that you're ashamed of.
Yeah.
No,
it's like...
or you just don't want nobody to know that part of you, because you don't know why.
Well, it's like my friend used to say when people used to jack off on VHS tapes, it was embarrassing because they could always tell what made you come because you could see where the tape stopped. You just back up 10 seconds. If it's some feet, you know it's feet. If it's if it's a dick, you know, you're like, oh, all right.
Oh, I see. You like watching the ass from the back.
I had a friend send me a clip recently, and I was like, I thought it was weird. It was like, hey, dude, you got to see this. And I opened up some porn. I'm like, so what do you want to like? Like next time I see you, we'll be like, hey, man. Did you jerk off to that thing? Yeah, I jerked off to that thing too. Yeah, we both jerked off to the same thing. I don't want that.
I called you. I wonder why you didn't pick your phone up.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that is weird. Yeah, I think it's just safer. And then I guess till you get to the old folks' home or whatever.
Yeah.
It don't matter no more.
I know. The day I stop is the day I really think about ending it all.
You know, the older you get, when the doctor be like, maybe it's me. It can't just be me. And they be like, hey, you need to, and you like, you know, I had a spot. I'm like, what's this spot? And they was like, oh, it's nothing. We did something on it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So my dick still work. All right, as long as that's good. That's the only thing that matters for me for some reason.
Right.
Like, as long as that work, everything will be all right.
Yeah.
My hair getting thin, it's all good.
Uh-huh.
My dick work, though.
Yeah. All right, so I want to ask you some questions.
We went way into the nigga part on that last run. I said we went way into the nigga part, and we left the spiritual part for a little while.
Yeah. You want to get back into the spiritual? Let's talk about...
No, it's a balance. You got to go do both. We're human.
Well, that's what I like about the special. You go back and forth. I like that you did it. I like the crowd. Can I ask you why Susan Sarandon was in your crowd?
You know what? Shout out to Killer Mike. Killer Mike and Susan and T.I. was at a dinner, and they decided to stop by.
T.I. was there too?
No, T.I. was like, I'm not going all the way to Decatur.
Yeah.
You know, but he was at the dinner, and he's like, I'm coming by with Susan Sarandon. I was like, damn, that'll be cool. And he actually came by with Susan Sarandon, and I was like, oh, shit. You know? And she was in the audience. She loved it.
Dude, she is the coolest chick ever.
Oh, yeah, she's cool. I hung out with her and them the next day because Killer Mike performed on Chappelle's show inside the Falcons arena.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit. You know, like, this is on a bigger scale. Chris Tucker was there.
Yeah.
All the Atlanta rappers was there, and it was like a major concert.
Yeah.
And she was still there hanging out. And I was like, this is cool.
How did she fall in with this group?
That I don't know. I don't ask.
It's so random.
It is, but when you in L.A., I think you kind of used to showing up and people being there.
Yeah.
But then you take that energy to Atlanta, and you there hanging out, you want to find some stuff to get into.
Right.
You know, so it's only a few different things, especially if you're a cool person, because she was telling me about her first trip, you know. So it's only so much, and I think Killer Mike is a great ambassador to the city.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know, from politics all the way to strip
I guess
clubs.
they're both super political. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
The strip clubs, yeah.
Yeah.
The whole gamut. Well, Atlanta is such a rich, amazing place right now. You know, I mean, I just started watching the most recent season of Atlanta. I mean, that is just genius.
That's another thing
they're
that
just like beautiful short films. Every episode is like, they don't even try to be funny anymore. It's funny because the characters are so rich.
Yeah.
There's so much going on with each character, and there's such amazing actors. The writing is off the chart. It's one of the best TV shows I've ever seen.
I think what's dope, and shout out to Donald about that, is and I play a character in one of his shows he produced coming out next year.
Oh yeah?
I don't think I can say the name of it yet.
All right.
But it's gonna be dope about a black female serial killer.
Nice.
I'm like, oh shit, we get a serial killer
yeah,
finally.
That's good. I haven't heard of that.
But I think he's able to, and I think everybody's funny. And Atlanta shows how anybody could just be funny.
Yeah.
And that you could have a comedy that's, you know, a little bit stripped from a old school setup punch, and just let these people live and exist.
Yeah. And
I'm in that world also. So even in my special, I stripped some of the funny out to play with the energy a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
And it's cool you got support far as like production and a director that allows you to do these things.
Yeah.
And Jessica Pilot, also shout out Jessica Pilot, who put me on Colbert for me to tell like one of the first AIDS jokes in late night history.
AIDS jokes? Really?
When I said, I was like, I did it during the special about my dad having schizophrenia.
Yeah.
It'd be easy if he had AIDS.
Yeah.
It'd be easy to explain. So, yeah. And then with that came like the idea to do it on a bigger scale.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And it's, I'm going to Atlanta next month or January. And every time I go there, I got friends there. We always take me to different places. And then T.I. I got to know, and his wife Tiny. And I was the showrunner on one of Tiny's shows.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Wow.
She had a show on VH1 where it was a round table. It was like a panel show. Her and two other women, and I spent time in their house. And the funniest thing is, you go to T.I. and Tiny's house, it's big sprawling house, and every hallway, every room has suitcases, big open suitcases. This one's filled with Jordans. This one's filled with T-shirts. This one's filled with and it's just because when they travel, they don't pack. They just zip. And then they put it all in the car. And somebody told me they spent $50,000 in baggage fees the previous year from traveling with so much luggage.
Damn.
Which also means you got how big is your hotel room when you're showing up with that many bags? You got to get an extra room just for the bags.
Wow. I mean, I just traveled with on the way back. I flew to Atlanta Thursday, and we left Atlanta so early that we landed in LA at 8:00 in the morning.
Oh, you took a private jet?
No, hell no. It's just the Delta.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Atlanta is the hub.
Yeah.
So they be running drugs out of there all type of. I just playing. But that's who sat. I was in like 2B, and Tilt was in 2C, and Tiny was in 2D.
Oh, really?
Just knocked out. You know what I mean? Shout out to him.
Yeah. He's been coming around the store and doing stand-up.
Yeah, I caught him in Baltimore when I was there
Uh-huh.
at a different club, and
Yeah.
I caught his set with K-Dub. Shout out to K-Dub.
Uh-huh.
Very funny comedian from Atlanta. You should check him out.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, man. Funny. And I saw Tip do his hour, and I was like, this is the beginning of something
Yeah.
that can be crazy big. And I
Right.
told him, like, whatever he need, let him know, but he know you too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. And he comes in and he's a gentleman. I mean, he treats everybody great.
Yeah.
He's a super nice guy, very approachable. And, but Atlanta's also got like, I don't know, it's the most racially integrated city in the country. It's like, when you're in downtown Atlanta, it's just like you see all kinds of people I mean, do you agree, or you think it's more?
Well, I would think it's all us, but you're right. You're right. It is because of what the city has been through.
Yeah.
But when I'm like in Clarkson on my side of town, it's a lot of us. It was a lot of us over there.
Right.
Which is a little bit outside the city if you want to get technical.
Yeah.
People like to fight about that shit. But you're right. It's all that. Because especially with the history we have, and then I'm going to other places that might not be so black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we're privileged.
Yeah.
Like they gonna think we cocky.
Right.
Because the way we carry ourselves and stuff like that. And coming to LA, I see it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's like I stayed at the Four Seasons because I opened for Rogan at some theaters, so he put me in the Four Seasons for a couple nights.
Yeah.
It's all black people. I mean, it's the most expensive hotel in town, and the staff, everybody there, and it's like I've never seen that before.
And who you was telling that to?
What's that?
You was telling that to somebody? Or you was thinking that?
No, I was just thinking it. I was
found
like,
one Mexican dude like, man, I ain't never seen it.
What's going on with all
That
these
was me
black
in
people?
LA. I was like, damn, man, they took this place from these people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, because I was there in my hotel, which was in Buckhead, and they had some type of insurance convention downstairs. People who own their own work for these insurance company. It was all black.
Yeah.
And I'm going to the lobby, and it's like people just kicking it, like, yeah. You need some insurance, you know what I mean? And I'm coming up with an insurance plan. 'Cause I just started, I took a little microdose, and I became one with the insurance.
You
And
did?
I'm trying to push my plan to them, lifetime insurance. And they like, what? And they was like, what? They was like, who you work for? I'm like, State Farm. And they was like, what branch? Because I'm in the West End. I was like, oh, I'm in Turks and Caicos branch. I'm over here. I'm pushing them insurance. You know what I mean? They got one street, but there's a lot of accidents happen on that one street.
I would love to sell insurance because really, it's legalized gambling. Like life insurance, I was thinking about this, is like you sit down with them and they say, we bet you're going to die. And then you bet that you're not. And then every month they go, you want to bet again? And then one day you die and you win. Unless
you miss 2 payments.
Right.
Like I had a friend, and sorry, this happened, but his dad was having a heart surgery, and he was the patriarch of the family who paid all the bills. He missed 2 months.
Oh,
and then he passed.
Shit.
And then they got 35 years going down the drain.
Sucks.
House wins.
Damn. Yep.
But it's something for us to pay attention to when we are in certain situations for at least more than one person to have and know about these things.
Yeah.
Right. Because we're uneducated financially also on these things. So, but you're right. My life insurance policy that I was pushing was like, you pay me a premium once a month, and every week I show up at your house and scare the fuck out of you, tie you up, throw you in the trunk, and make you appreciate life. And if anything breaks, it's covered under the life insurance policy. So that's what I was pushing.
We were just talking about that. When you're in fear, you're in the moment. I'll put you in the moment every week at a different time. You never know when it's going to happen.
Yep.
Could be 3 a.m. You could be at work.
But I guarantee you would appreciate. Yeah. You'd be like, oh man. And you think when you near death, the way you eat, and even on shrooms, because you're present, the food you eat is important. Because you're there with it. Like, man, this could be my last meal, or I haven't eaten in a while, so.
Yeah. When me and my wife were tripping in the desert, we walked from the hotel to a Thai restaurant, and we're sitting there, and it had like a waterfall on the wall, and then it had these Buddhist statues underneath it with the water running through it and koi fish. And my wife was like, she looks at it, she goes, man, like these Thai people, they have such like culture and history. She goes, we got nothing.
Yep.
I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, we got nothing.
But my girl is Israeli, and she said it about America.
Yeah.
She said it about America. It's like it's none of that.
Yeah.
Even the diversity where she's from is people that are rich in culture from different places.
Yeah. No, Israel's an incredible place.
Yeah.
I think my daughter's going to go. They have this thing when my wife is half Jewish. And so if you're Jewish and you're under 25, they'll fly you.
For the birthright.
Yeah. And they I don't know if they fly you, but like once you get there, I think it's like a tour for like 2 weeks, and they show you the culture. And
I heard they'll bring you out.
She's going to do that.
And that's, to me, Atlanta is that city. It's the black birthright city.
Yeah, right.
Believe it or not, some people who might have left the South and want their kids, might have grew up in like Montana somewhere, and want their kids to have that black experience.
Right.
They'll send them there because some of the top historical black colleges are there,
right?
Like Spelman and Morehouse. Mm-hmm. So they'll send them there to get their birthright trip.
Wow.
And then they get pregnant and be a stripper. Not just playing. But and leave with a baby dad and not just fucking around.
We got a lot of strip clubs in Atlanta, man.
A lot. Yeah, we put a lot of people in college in that program.
Yeah.
It's a program. Duke got their thing they do. We got our thing. You know what I mean? It's for women only,
Yeah. What about Memphis? What's Memphis like?
Man, when I went to Memphis, a friend of mine is stationed there, and it was it's like a weird little town. I stayed on an army base when I was there, which is cool. I felt safe. But seeing the blues, like Beale Street in these places, seeing the birthplace of blues, right. It's such a little short block, but it lets you know how powerful this impact was on the city.
Right.
For this thing to be known for that, And it's still a dangerous city. I went to where Young Dolph got shot.
Yeah.
The cookie place. And they moved, so we went to the new spot and we went in and had the cookies fresh from the airport.
Yeah.
And then I went to Dr. King's Lorraine Hotel. And, so it's blues on top of blues.
Right.
But that's what makes the food good.
Yeah.
Like if you land at a spot, you see where a rapper, that dope rapper you like, get killed, and you go see Dr. King get killed, and where it's blues, birthplace of blues, and you gonna want some food.
You want some comfort food.
Man, you gonna want some drink, you want some food.
Right.
And then we went to the Elvis place, and that was creepy.
Yeah.
Man, Elvis place is creepy.
Yeah.
I go through this whole...
Yeah, I'm reading a biography of him right now. That's why I asked about Memphis, because it just sounds like such a deep, like, conflicted black culture in that city.
And he showed up, and he took from it, and he made it his own, became like the first rock star, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is the first rock star, which is crazy how much he amassed. And then he stayed in Memphis.
Yeah.
Was the crazy part. On his ranch. And he only paid $100,000 for that ranch. And you can't see his bedroom, right? They don't let you up in the bedroom. You can see almost any parts of the house but the bedroom, but his ex-wife and his daughter still comes there.
I heard that.
Yeah,
like
so
there's tours going around downstairs and they're living upstairs.
They're upstairs. So we was there the week before they came because it was almost anniversary week.
Uh-huh.
So that day we was there, they was like, yeah, they fly in tomorrow.
Wow.
And I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And you see the planes and everything. But I was like, it's something about that room. I think that's where the real Elvis was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy that he died there.
Yeah.
Because every time they say he left the room, he had on his jewelry and he was always fresh with sideburns and everything. So I was like, man, I wonder who he was up there.
Yeah.
And then I go to his gravestone because they had the bodies moved there.
Yeah.
And I look at his mother grave, and it's a Star of David on his mother's grave.
Oh, no kidding.
And I was like, oh, shit.
Really?
What if that was the guy up there? And I'm like, where are you from? This when I started going down the rabbit hole. Oh, he's from Mississippi. What they would call it, it's something where they make clothes, like haberdashery. So a lot of the Jewish immigrants were from that part.
Oh, no kidding.
Mississippi, and his mom was Jewish who converted
to
Christianity, but it's by technical law, he's Jewish.
No shit. Yeah,
so he's inducted. If you look at the Jewish Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Elvis is in there.
Whoa. Yeah, because he lived in East Tupelo when he was young.
Yep.
And then they bounced around. I mean, they bounced around. They were getting evicted constantly.
You see the shack. Yeah, you see the shack he grew up in. You see and he had to bring his grandmother and them over. And everybody basically was in that house.
Yeah.
That, he paid for everything. And he had fun with his kids and stuff. But when family was important to him, even though he was living his life.
Yeah.
But when his lady left him, it was that's when you see the big Elvis and the pill popping.
He fell apart.
Yeah, because it's the one thing he liked. Mom's gone now. Lady left him, and you see a man. Is damn near like a version of what you see Kanye go through now.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, this guy was falling apart, and then he went from not wanting to work the road to be with his family to like just keep booking me. And then his deal was crazy.
Well, Colonel Tom Parker was pushing him in the wrong direction. It was a case of a manager not helping a client.
But that happens in the music business, right?
Right.
Like I found out now, like a lot of the gangster rappers, they music company take insurance policies out on them.
Oh, no shit. Payable back to them?
Back door.
Really?
Yep. So if they do a deal for like $2 million and this rapper get killed, poop, they recoup their money. Yeah. Ain't that crazy?
All right.
But I think what this show you the brilliance of Elvis' ex-wife, I forgot her name. Priscilla, when she got a hold of the property, it was in the hole. Like it took $500. It cost $100K, but it took $500,000 to run it.
Yeah.
So she hired a CEO of a company, and then that's when they built the ranch up, and it's worth $100 million to this day.
$100 million.
It made $10 million a year, and she moved the bodies back on the property, right? Because Elvis was buried somewhere else. She moved on the property. Now, the weekend I was there, Trump buried his wife on the golf course.
Golf course as a tax write-off.
So all this is happening while I'm finding out that Elvis' body was moved to
Graceland. Because once the body's on the property, it's considered a cemetery, and you get tax-exempt status.
And all the family is there.
Yeah.
Even the newest gravestone is from one of the recent sons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So all the bodies are there, which is eerie. It's eerie taking photos of it for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, spiritually just is weird. Even though I did, but some things I was like, there's been places. We was high in Mexico at the Frida Kahlo Museum.
Oh, wow.
And my girl wanted to take pictures through the mirror. Her vase is right there with her ashes in it.
Yeah.
I was like, we can't.
Yeah.
Because if that photo come out and she's in the photo, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to freak the fuck out.
Right.
That's a fear I have. If you take a picture next to somebody's urn in some weird way, you can see a glimpse of them in the...
and it's over.
It's over. She almost knocked the urn over. She almost tripped over this thing. But I don't know where we was going with this. But that was Graceland, man. It was very good to see and eerie at the same time.
Yeah. I can't wait to go. This book is so fucking good. It's called Last Train to Memphis. Yeah.
I think once you get there, because you're reading this book and you're going to see how big this place has become.
Yeah.
And they're still adding to it.
Right.
You're going to be like, damn.
Yeah. My friend just got married there.
Look, man, way to go.
Yeah.
Way to go, Priscilla.
He's from, you know Wheeler Walker Jr.?
I don't know the name from.
He's like he's a comedian who plays a country artist. And he's like really twisted, funny. Everything's about tits, and it's like redneck. He's making fun of rednecks, but he's gotten really big. He's like touring all over the place. Damn. And he got married in Graceland.
Way to go.
This year. All right, I always ask my comedian guests 3 questions. I need to name the segment. It should be called like Greg's 3, a few with Fitzdog, a few with Fitz.
Oh, yeah, that's better than Greg's 3.
Yeah. A few with Fitz. All right. There we go. Have you ever not finished a set on stage?
Yeah. Yeah, my first time on stage, I had to be on stage 30 seconds. Well, that wasn't a set. I didn't know what I was doing.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah, I got booed. And my homeboy I got booed so long, he had a chance to go pull the car around. It was bad.
Where was it?
And I was shocked. Like Uptown Comedy Corner, my first time at the club. Rest in peace to Nard. He brought me on stage.
Yeah.
He just passed, but yeah. And we signed up so we can get in free. And I had nothing. I didn't know how to write a joke or anything.
So you did 30 seconds?
I had to do about 30 seconds, and me and this guy was joning each other, which is like dissing in other places. And he was like, man, I paid $300 for this shirt. I was like, well, you got ripped off. And the audience kind of chuckled, and I ain't have on no socks. He was like, hey, I got some spare socks in my trunk if you need it. And the audience was just like, boo! And the lights went off and everything. And then Nard grabbed the mic, and he was like, hey, man, never leave the stage.
Yeah.
He's like, if you're on stage, we could protect you. But once you get off stage, you're on your own.
Right.
And I was just like, and my whole soul gone, but I'm still listening. Like, oh, okay. Whatever confidence I got left.
Yeah.
And then I go outside and get in the car. I don't even know how I ended up in the car, but I just ended up in the car. I had to go downstairs or whatever.
Yeah.
But the car was there and it was running. And it was the heat was on. It's a Nova. So for the car to be on and the heat is on and a 71 Nova, then you know. I'm like, man, how fast? I never asked, how early did you leave? You had to leave when he called me on stage. You had to know. The way I grabbed the mic out of the mic stand, and this was going to go bad.
So there's advice for anybody who's thinking about doing stand-up. Have a car running out front when you get on stage.
If you go to amateur night.
Yeah.
You go to amateur night. But go to the club first and check it out and see what you're really getting yourself into.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure there's other times I didn't. I did a 30-minute set in 11 minutes, my first road trip.
Yeah.
I bombed.
Yeah.
And I went through it, and I was like, oh, there's nothing left. And they like, you still got 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
And I went to I was so, whatever, I fell asleep. like I was so spent.
Yeah.
I never experienced adrenaline or nothing like that before.
Yeah.
And people just staring at you and shit.
People will never know. I mean, that's part of like going back to our theme on this show of like fear is good for you. Like stand-up comedy is a way, because I have depression like you. I have ADHD. And when I do stand-up comedy, I am forced to be in my own shoes in that moment on stage for however long my show is that night. And when during the pandemic, when I went a year and a half without getting that connection, I was rudderless, man. I was useless. Ooh. I needed that. And I know you fell out of stand-up while you've been in Baltimore. You haven't been doing stand-up as much.
No, man, you seen I had it bad.
Yeah.
Because the shit talking, remember we talking about the dirty jokes and the stuff that your wife don't mind?
Yeah.
That turned to being like around people.
Right.
And that was a problem for her. Because I'm talking to like people in the room now talking dirty shit.
On the set of the TV show.
Or just at dinner or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and then the titties, big girl titties juggle like this. Yeah. And she's sitting there and it's like, and I really didn't understand what it was like from her point of view. But I definitely reverted to who I was when I would get kicked out of class and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I need the stage.
Yeah. What's the hackiest bit you've ever done?
Ooh, we gotta come back to that. We gotta revisit that.
All right, we'll revisit that.
You
don't think you ever had a hacky bit?
It was something about, I think my recent one, which I heard somebody else do, and I was like, oh, it's too easy.
Yeah.
When they was talking about, man, I ain't gonna get the COVID shot. I don't know what's in that. And it's like, nigga, you lick ass.
Yeah.
How you afraid of the shot? Yeah. You don't know what the chick ate.
Yeah.
You know that you just met her at the club. So, and then I heard somebody else do a version of that, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Easy.
Drop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what have you turned down recently?
I think I turned down an audition to do something with like MLK. To play Ralph David Abernathy. Really? Yeah.
How come you didn't want to do that?
Because I just did a piece in the 60s.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, y'all ain't got no imagination.
Right.
Where y'all could like go from here to there. I just did this time period. And you want me to do it again about another story about MLK.
Yeah.
I'm like, ain't no other nigga y'all could pick. That's how I be sometimes. So it's and to me that's hacky. Yeah. You know, we are the same story. Do we need another Harriet Tubman story? Yeah. You know, she ran. We get it. Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say I can get canceled for this now.
No, but your bit and your special, you said, I wish that Harriet Tubman had a Fitbit. See how many steps she got in.
Oh, yeah.
That was fucking hilarious.
Thank you, man. That's what happens when you when you on shrooms and past and present and future is right now. You know, because to me, this is the long part of the bit. It's not about the people with Fitbits obsessed about the steps more than anything that's going on around. Yeah. They got to get the 10,000 steps in. Yeah. So to me, if Harriet Tubman had the steps, had the Fitbit, it would be more about the steps than the actual freeing of slaves. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And she'll be looking at it. She's like, man, y'all lazy. Come on. We got to get this in before sundown because I got to come back. Hey. You know, so.
Like, but it's not safe right now.
Yeah, she's just pushing them. She's just pushing them. Stop, Harriet. You hear them dogs? Fuck them dogs. You know what I mean? I need 1,000 more steps to get my badge. You know, so. That's just how my mind works.
All right, listen, so people check out the special. Why don't you tell people the name of the special, Byron?
Spiritual Nigga. It's on Hulu, Disney. Shout out to Mickey Mouse for letting a nigga, say nigga on Disney. And if you white, you say spiritual N-word. And if you a Nazi, you say spiritual nigger too. So either way, check it out.
All right. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
Good hang.